Everything starting at the middle always helps. Just like with covering. I'm going to start at the middle and push your air bubbles out. Kind of pulling as you roll helps get the air bubbles out too. Now you notice I made a line right here, and that's our hinge line that I need to put either Kevlar or peel ply to make a live hinge. And if you forget to do that after you put your sheeting on and close up your molds, you're really screwed, because there isn't much you can do that I know of anyway to fix that. I've done it once before where you do all this work, you close it up, and then you realize you forgot to add that, and there's nothing you can do because that's your hinge, and it's built in internally, so you need to have that done before you go to the next step here. So that is my next thing to do, and I need to remember, and that's why I put that line there so that I remember as I'm going that I need to do that. One other area is anytime you have any carbon reinforcement, which I have right here, I need to add carbon reinforcement. You don't want to forget that either, because you can't add that later. And I do need to do that, and I actually forgot to cut a piece, so I need to cut that in a second. If you have some areas that get missed with the glass or with the epoxy, or the glass or the epoxy, you can go back and add pieces in. I found there's no problem with doing that. Somebody might tell me differently, but I've never had an issue with that. I actually can see an area right now that I could use a little bit extra. So, now this is peel ply, cut on a 45 degree. I've tried Kevlar and I've done peel ply. I find that this, believe it or not, this seems to be a little bit better for me anyway than peel ply, or I'm sorry, than Kevlar. I like it better. So, use this on the F-100 that's flying now. So I'm just going to stick with it for V2. So, and I use 2 layers just to make sure, because ultimately I'm going to score the top of the surface and then you basically break it back and forth until it bends. And I don't want, in case if I cut too deeply, I don't want to go through the hinge. So add a second layer just in case. Now, I think maybe some guys put another layer of glass on top of this. I don't do that. Maybe I should. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I didn't do that on the last one, and I noticed it was a little flimsy. So, better safe than sorry. That basically creates a sandwich and ties it all in there. All right. Next step is I need to add some carbon fiber, which I need to cut. And whether this was a full flying stab or it was a stab and elevator like this is, you need some additional reinforcement where the spar is going to be. So I'm going to add some carbon right where the spar goes. This is actually carbon with Kevlar tracings through it. It's kind of a pain in the butt to cut, but it was a lot cheaper. Carbon's expensive. I've seen it $100 a yard for 6 ounce. It's crazy. I think this was like 40, so much better deal. This is, I think, 3 ounce. Then I have my templates where everything goes. I just want to make sure that I'm where the spar is. Okay, I'm just going to roll that out a little bit. You don't need a whole lot on here. You think there's actually more. You don't think there's as much as there is. I mean, when you press your finger in here, there really is quite a bit, even though it looks pretty dry. So when everything gets pressed in the bag, everything will get, the epoxy will get spread out and pushed into the wood, and more than you need, more than enough. As long as it's a little wet, you should be good to go. Okay. All right. So now we have our skins. And I put X's on the side that I want on the inside so that I know which side to use. And I've actually, sometimes I've put a little resin on this side and then put it in. I don't know if you need to do that or not. One area I do put a little extra is right here at the leading edge, just because it bends a lot right there. And it just makes things stick a little bit better. Up.